Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Today we would like to explain about Vipassana. In our previous matter, we have explained about Anapanasati Samatha meditation up to fourth jhana. Based on Anapana fourth jhana, if you want to practice Vipassana, what you should do? Number one, you must try to understand ultimate materiality by your own direct knowledge. Secondly, you should try to understand ultimate mentality by your own direct knowledge. Then, you must also try to discern both mentality and materiality together. Then you must try to define mentality and materiality. This is internally. You must discern ultimate materiality internally. You must discern ultimate mentality internally. You must discern both ultimate materiality and mentality internally together. And then you must define ultimate materiality and mentality internally. In the same way, you must also try to discern ultimate materiality externally, ultimate mentality externally. You must also try to discern ultimate materiality and mentality both together, internally and externally. Then you must try to define ultimate materiality and mentality externally. Again, you must, within one sentence, you must try to discern ultimate materiality internally and externally. You must try to discern ultimate mentality internally and externally. You must also try to discern ultimate materiality and mentality both together, internally and externally. Then you must try to define ultimate mentality and materiality both internally and externally. This is the first stage. Again, you must try to discern dependent origination. First 5 causes: ignorance, craving, clinging, positional formations, and karma produce present 5 aggregates. Again, another 5 causes: ignorance, craving, clinging, positional formations, and karma which you are accumulated in this period will produce future 5 aggregates. It should be similarly understood. Many birth lives up to the end of your future life. So you must try to discern cause and effect, past, present, and future in 3 parallels. After that only you must practice Vipassana. When practicing Vipassana, you must contemplate past, future, present, whatever kind of 5 aggregates, past, present or future, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, all 5 aggregates you must contemplate as nature, dukkha and anatta, as impermanent, suffering and no-self. Again, you must try to discern because of the rising of past causes. 5 aggregates arise. Because of the complete sensation of 5 causes, 5 aggregates will cease completely without remainder. Then you must contemplate these 5 aggregates also as nature, impermanent, dukkha, suffering, and no-self, anatta. Such type of contemplation is called Vipassana. No? I have explained this If you find you are contemplating these five aggregates as nature, impermanent, dukkha, suffering, and anatta, non-self, again and again you must try to see moment by moment rising and passing away. If you see rising and passing away moment by moment of these five aggregates, then we can say you are practicing udiyaya jnana, the knowledge of rise and fall. After that, you must try to practice higher vipassana. If you want to practice higher and higher vipassana inside, then you should emphasize only passing away of these five aggregates. You should not pay attention rising. When your insight becomes mature, then slowly you will not see rising stage of this formation in these five aggregates. You will see only passing away. At that time, you should contemplate these five aggregates or these formations as impermanence, suffering, and no-self again. Past, present, future, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, power or near. All five aggregates you must contemplate them repeatedly, seeing dissolution only as anicca, impermanence, dukkha, suffering, and non-self. So this stage Buddha taught, maybe this is we call here third stage. Please try to see page 70. Insight meditation, third stage. Then the Buddha continues this teaching that all else mindfulness that there is a body is simply established in a bhikkhu to the extent necessary for the attainment of the different types of higher and higher insight knowledge and mindfulness. This sentence refers to the knowledge of dissolution as well as the different types of higher vipassana insight knowledge for the realization of Nibbāna. So you must emphasize only dissolution. At that time, you will not see even subatomic particles called kalabas. At that time, you will see only pure ultimate materiality, pure ultimate mentality only. Then you must contemplate them occasionally, not moment by moment. You should contemplate them as impermanence, sometimes impermanence, sometimes suffering, sometimes non-self, sometimes nature, sometimes dukkha, sometimes anatta. While contemplating in this way, if you want to practice, if you want to emphasize only anatta, non-self, it is better. But if it is not okay, you should repeat again and again, anicca and dukkha, again and again. Then when vipassana insight become very, very strong, at that time you should emphasize anatta, non-self. But if you are a samatha yanika meditator, samatha vehicle person, then you should, at that time, you should emphasize jhana dhammas as anicca, impermanence, dukkha, suffering, and non-self. Again and again. When your insight becomes the knowledge of equanimity about formation, about aggregates, at that time you should emphasize anatta, non-self. It is better. When contemplating in this way, if you prefer to practice, to pay attention for jhana dhammas as anicca or dukkha or anatta, you can emphasize only first jhana dhammas, to contemplate first jhana dhammas only. But if you want to, if you prefer to contemplate second jhana dhammas, you can emphasize only second chakra Dhamma. Or if you prefer to contemplate that jhana Dhammas, you can contemplate that jhana Dhammas only for the long time or for 1 sitting or 2 sitting, etc. Again, if you want to contemplate only 4 jhana Dhammas, after that you can contemplate 4 jhana Dhammas, both internally and externally. At that time, my concentration will become very deep and very peaceful. At that time, when contemplating internally, your mind is very peaceful and very quiet. At that time, please continue to contemplate internal jhana Dhammas. Then, when your insight becomes mature, at the end of insight, path and fruition knowledge will arise. That path and fruition knowledge will realize Nibbāna, unformed element, asankata dhatu. This is called Nibbāna. When your path knowledge realize Nibbāna, at that time, with the assistance of the Nibbāna, your path knowledge will destroy defilements stage by stage. When you attain up to Arhat stage, your Arhat path will destroy all defilements completely without remainder. So this stage Buddha teach inside meditation, 4th stage. And he advised independent, not clinging to anything else in the world. That means the fact aggregate of clinging. The meditator has no attachment, no craving, no clinging to any aggregate. What does it mean? This is my son, this is my daughter, this is my husband, this is my wife. Such type of clinging disappear completely. Is it good? Good? If you do not see your wife, if you do not see your husband, is it good? Very good. You can escape from the downward request. Very good, very good. So this sentence refers to the 4 types of path and fruition knowledge up to the Arhat stage. See 16 types of knowledge. This is how a bhikkhu abides contemplating the body and the body. So this is body contemplation. So in this Anapanasati session or Vipassana, the Buddha teaches the second, third and 4th tetrad together. What are second tetrad, what are third tetrad, what are 4th tetrad? So first tetrad I have explained, long breath, short breath, the whole body of breath, and then tranquilizing bodily formation. This is first tetrad. Tetrad means four stages. Long breath, 1 stage. Short breath, 1 stage. Then the whole body of breath, 1 stage. Then tranquilizing the bodily formation. This is 1 stage. So there are 4. Then again, Buddha also when practicing with this is only pure samatha. Up to 4th jhana. Based on this 4th jhana, if you want to practice vipassana, then Buddha also teach second tetrad, third tetrad, and 4th tetrad. This type of teaching is in Anapanasati Sutta of Majjhima Nikaya, etc. Not in the Mahāsatīpāṇa Sutta. Mahāsatīpāṇa Sutta, Buddha teach another way, but the meaning is same. The meaning is same, you can understand. Then now we will try to explain. Okay. So now we would like to explain about the second, third and 4th tetrad separately. Although the Buddha does not teach this tetrad separately in the Mahāsatīpāṇa Sutta, he teaches them separately in the Anapanasati Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number and sutta number 118, etc. In spite of this, the meanings of these two sutras are the same. Meaning is same. Number 1, second tetrad. Second tetrad, feeling, contemplation, Vedana, Nupassana. A bhikkhu trains thus, I shall breathe in experiencing rapture. He trains thus, I shall breathe out experiencing rapture. Piti Piti Samvedi Asa Sisamiti Sekati. Piti Piti Samvedi Asa Sisamiti Sekati. So this is Buddha's teaching. I shall breathe in experiencing rapture. Piti is rapture. Rapture, he trains thus. I shall breathe out experiencing rapture. He trains thus. Number 2 is Sukha Padisamvedi. Sukha Padisamvedi Asa Sisamiti Sekati. Sukha Padisamvedi Pasa Sisamiti Sekati. He trains thus, I shall breathe in experiencing pleasure. He trains thus, I shall breathe out experiencing pleasure. Number 3. Chitta Sankhara Padisamvedi Asa Sisamiti Sekati. Chitta Sankhara Padisamvedi Pasa Sisamiti Sekati. He trains thus, I shall breathe in experiencing mental formation. He trains thus, I shall breathe out experiencing mental formation. Number 4 is Pasambayan Chitta Sankharam Asa Sisamiti Sekati. Pasambayan Chitta Sankharam Pasa Sisamiti Sekati. He trains thus, I shall breathe in tranquilizing the mental formation. He trains thus, I shall breathe out tranquilizing the mental formation. So what is the meaning? We would like to explain one by one. So the number 1, the meaning of the above 4 sentences. Number 1, I shall breathe in experiencing rapture. He trains thus. I shall breathe out experiencing rapture. He trains thus. What is the meaning? Herein, the rapture is experienced in 2 ways. With the object and with non-confusion. How is rapture experienced with the object? This is samatha. So, when the meditator attains the first and second jhanas, respectively, rapture is present in both jhanas. If you want to understand directly, then at that time you should re-establish first jhana concentration. At the actual moment of first jhana full absorption stage, rapture is very clear. Because there are 5 jhana petals: Vidyaga, application, Vichara, sustainment, Piti, rapture, Sukha, pleasure, and Ekagata, one-pointedness. So these 5 jhana petals are very clear in 5 jhana full absorption stage. So at that time, you should emphasize only Piti. When you emphasize Piti, you can see Piti very clearly. But Piti never rises alone. Piti always arises with associated mental formations. How many? 34. You should not forget this 34. Within one mind moment, these 34 mental formations rise together. So these 34 mental formations we have already calculated. You must learn by heart. After that only you will understand the meaning of Buddha's teaching. But if you do not learn by heart, you cannot understand the meaning of Buddha's teaching. So what are 34? We have already written on page maybe 6 and 7. So you can see this 34. Among 34, PD is predominant pattern. You should emphasize PD only. Rapture. PD is translated as rapture. But rapture never arises alone. It always arises with associated mental formations. How many? 34. So emphasizing PD rapture, you should contemplate them as nature, impermanent, suffering, dukkha, non-self, anatta. Sometimes nature, sometimes dukkha, sometimes anatta. At the time, when entering into first jhana, at the actual full absorption state, you can feel PD. Why? This Pratibhaga, the object is Anappana Pratibhaga Nimitta counterpart sign. Translucent and brilliant and bright Nimitta. When you see this Nimitta, you feel a lot enjoy or a lot pleasure, rapture. If you see one friend, for example, a good friend, when you see a good friend on the way, how will you feel? You will become happy. Your friend also will become happy. In the same way, if you see this object, you feel a lot of happiness as well as a lot of rapture. At the time, this rapture also very clear, that pleasure also very clear. But in this case, Buddha teaches to emphasize one by one. Occasionally, you can emphasize pleasure. Occasionally, you can emphasize rapture. So this is rapture. While entering into jhana, at the actual full absorption stage, rapture also very clear because of the object. Object is Anappana counterpart sign. If you see this Anappana counterpart sign, you feel a lot rapture. You feel a lot of happiness, a lot of pleasure. So in the same way, when he enters into the first and second Anappana jhanas one by one, taking the Anappana counterpart sign, Pratibhaga Nimitta as object, he experiences a lot of happiness, sukha, and joy, piti, or a lot of pleasure, sukha, and rapture. Owing to the obtaining of the jhana because of the experience of the object, Anappana counterpart sign, Anappana Pratibhaga Nimitta. Because of this, at the actual absorption moment, pleasure and rapture are also very clear, although in this tetrad, the Buddha teaches pleasure and rapture separately for the purpose of emphasizing one of them. In each absorption time of jhana, please note, in the first and second jhanas, rapture piti is a predominant pattern. In the first, second, and third jhanas, pleasure, sukha is a predominant pattern, although they arise together with associated jhana dhammas in each jhana mind moment. Associated jhana dhammas are how many? 34. They are called associated. Within one mind moment, they always rise together. They never separate to each other. So, while contemplating these jhana dhammas, if you contemplate only one, it is not enough. Do you understand? Not only one is nature, all are nature. All are dukkha, all are anatta. So you must contemplate all, but you must emphasize only one, predominant one. In other words, it is leader. So leader only. Then, please note in the first and second jhana, rapture piti is a predominant pattern. In the first, second and third jhana, pleasure, sukha is a predominant pattern, although they rise together with associated jhana dhammas in each jhana mind moment. Among those jhana dhammas, the Buddha teaches meditators sometimes to emphasize pleasure, sukha, and sometimes to emphasize rapture, piti, while practicing samatha or while practicing vipassana. The meaning should be similarly understood in the following sentences. be. This is vipassana. How with no confusion. After entering above and emerging from one of these two jhanas, accompanied by rapture, he comprehends with insight that rapture is impermanent nature, suffering, dukkha, and non-self anatta. When contemplating these jhana-dhammas, including rapture in this way, the vipassana insight also is associated with rapture because of the object, which is the jhana-dhamma. Is associated with rapture. So the object is 34 mental formations, jhana-dhammas. Among 34 jhana-dhammas, there is also rapture. Vipassana insight contemplate these jhana-dhammas again as anicca or dukkha or anatta. While contemplating, he saw this piti, rapture. When he saw this rapture, insight knowledge also associated with rapture. Do you understand? Why? If you see a good, friendly person on the way, if he smiles, you will be crying. You will also smile. Is it true? So, this is, your friend is object. You is subject. So, if your friend has smiling face, your face also will become smiling. In the same way only. So the object is piti. Piti is predominant present. If you see this piti, the insight knowledge also associated with piti. Same 34, same 34. Insight knowledge also same 34 mental formations. The object jhana-dhamma also 34 mental formations only. So then when contemplating these jhana-dhammas, including rapture in this way, the vipassana insight also is associated with rapture because the object, which is the jhana-dhamma, is associated with rapture. Because the object of vipassana insight is associated with rapture, the vipassana insight, which is the subject, is also associated with rapture when contemplating those jhana-dhammas as impermanent, suffering, and non-self. There are 34 mental patterns in the first jhana and 32 mental patterns in the second jhana, rapture being one of them. Vipassana insight, which contemplates these jhana-dhammas, it also is associated with 34 mental patterns, in which rapture is one of them. While practicing samatha jhana, at the actual full absorption mind moment, the meditator experiences rapture because he sees the object. The Anabbana Kaundapa sign Krivagan made up very clearly, and when he sees the Anabbana Kaundapa sign, he experiences a lot of rapture. While practicing vipassana, the meditator experiences rapture because the object of insight, that means the jhana-dhammas, are associated with rapture. So here object is, while practicing samatha, the object is what? Anabbana Kaundapa sign. While practicing vipassana, the object is what? Jhana-dhammas. So not same object. The object of jhana is Anabbana Kaundapa sign. The object of vipassana is the Anabbana jhana-dhammas 34. So the object is not same. When the meditator experiences rapture, he also experiences pleasure, sukha. Because rapture piti is always associated with pleasure, sukha. When practicing samatha or vipassana, the meditator is still breathing. At the dying, he may contemplate these jhana-dhammas as anicca, dukkha, and anatta, but at the dying he is breathing. Without breathing, he cannot contemplate. So now he is not entering into fourth jhana. He is only entering into first jhana, second jhana. So when he or she emerges from jhana, she or he contemplates this jhana-dhammas as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. At that time also he is breathing. Therefore it is said that when practicing samatha or vipassana, The meditator experiences pleasure, sukha, when breathing in or when breathing out. Although he does not pay attention to the breath object, he experiences rapture. For this reason, when practicing samatha, the meditator pays attention to the anapada nimitta only. He does not pay attention to the breath object. In the same way, when practicing vipassana, according to this tetrad, the meditator pays attention only to the jhana dhammas as impermanent, nature, suffering, dukkha, or non-self anatta. He does not pay attention to the breath object. For that reason, it is said that when practicing samatha or vipassana, the meditator trains thus: I shall breathe in experiencing rapture. He trains thus: I shall breathe out experiencing rapture. Okay? So this is the way of practicing how to breathe. If you can breathe according to Buddha's instruction, you can attain jhana. You can become rahat. Is it good? Breathing system is very important. You must focus this breath from different angles. If you try to breathe according to Buddha's teaching, that breathing system can produce to become rahat. Is it good? Good? Oh, very good. You should try to breathe according to Buddha's instruction. For the meaning should be similarly understood in the following sentences. This tetrad is one type of contemplation of feeling, vedana, nibbāna. Here, piti always associated with sukha. Sukha is one type of vedana. There are 5 types of vedana: sukha vedana, happiness feeling or pleasure; dukkha vedana, suffering feeling, the feeling of suffering; somanasa, happy feeling; domanasa, unhappy feeling; upekkha, equanimous feeling. So there are 5 types of feeling. Among 5 types, this is sukha, happy feeling or pleasure. So this, because of this, the Buddha teaches in this tetrad the vedana nibbāna, contemplation of feeling. How you should practice vedana nibbāna, you may understand. Then, number 2, he trains thus and shall breathe in experiencing pleasure. He trains thus and shall breathe out experiencing pleasure. Sukha pati samvedi, asa sesamiti sikati, sukha pati samvedi, pasa sesamiti sikati. Same meaning. When practicing anapana samatha meditation, the meditator enters sequentially into each of the first 3 jhanas, one by one. First jhana, he enter into first jhana. Imagine from first jhana he go to second jhana. He enter into second jhana. Imagine from second jhana he enter into third jhana, etc. At that time, he experiences jhana pleasure, sukha, because he feels a lot of pleasure, sukha, seeing the object of jhana, the anapana counterpart sign, the anapana pratibhaga nimitta. When practicing vipassana, he contemplates first jhana dhammas, second jhana dhammas, and third jhana dhammas, respectively emphasizing pleasure, sukha, as impermanent, suffering or non-self, seeing their dissolution. When contemplating them as impermanent, suffering or non-self, he experiences pleasure because the object of insight, that means the jhana dhammas, are associated with pleasure. At the actual moment of insight, when practicing vipassana, the meditator experiences pleasure because of the object, pleasure which is one of the jhana dhammas. When he contemplates those jhana dhammas together with pleasure as impermanence, suffering or non-self, seeing the dissolution of them, That insight knowledge is also associated with pleasure. For that reason, it is said that when practicing samatha or vipassana, the meditator trains that I shall breathe in, experiencing pleasure. He trains that I shall breathe out, experiencing pleasure. Sukha Padisamvedi. This is one type of breathing system. Everybody breathes. Without breathing, you will die. So, if you can breathe according to Buddha's instruction, you will feel a lot of happiness. If you cannot become Arhat in this very life, if you can maintain this jhana concentration up to that moment, you can reborn in Brahma. In Brahma, there is no woman, there is no man. Is it good? There is no son, there is no daughter. It is not necessary to work to support man or woman, to support son and daughter. Is it good? Very good. They enjoy jhana happiness only. Occasionally, for noble ones, they may practice vipassana. Is it good? They never eat food. They never urinate. They never go to toilet. Oh, is it good? Very good. Oh. If you become Sotapanna, suffering winner in this very life, then although you may try hard to become Arhat, but you cannot become Arhat, for example, then if you can maintain this jhana up to that moment, you can reborn in Brahma. If you reborn in Brahma as a Sotapanna, Srivana, you will never come down to the human world again. You will never come down to the Deva world also. You can permanently stay. This is permanency. You can stay there permanently up to Arhat stage. Is it good? Very good. You cannot be reborn in woeful state. You already escaped from woeful state. Not from woeful state. Not only from woeful state, you can escape already from sensual world. Very good. So because of this reason, if you can practice according to Buddha's teaching, if you can breathe according to Buddha's instruction, then you can become Sotapanna, you can become Brahma, you can become Arhat. When practicing vipassana, he contemplates five jhana dhammas, second jhana dhammas, and third jhana dhammas, respectively, emphasizing pleasure, sukha as impermanent, suffering or non-self, seeing their dissolution. While contemplating them as impermanent, suffering or non-self, he experiences pleasure because the object of insight, that is, the jhana dhammas, are associated with pleasure. At the actual moment of insight, when practicing vipassana, the meditator experiences pleasure because of the object pleasure, which is one of the jhana dhammas. When he contemplates those jhana dhammas together with pleasure as impermanent, suffering or non-self, seeing the dissolution of them, that insight knowledge is also associated with pleasure. For that reason, it is said that when practicing samatha or vipassana, the meditator trains that I shall breathe in, experiencing pleasure. He trains that I shall breathe out, experiencing pleasure. Sukha Padisamvedi. Then number 3. Jita Sankhara Padisamvedi Asa Sitamiti Sikkati. Jita Sankhara Padisamvedi Asa Sitamiti Sikkati. He trains that I shall breathe in, experiencing mental formation. He trains that I shall breathe out, experiencing mental formation. Here, mental formation means feeling, vedana, and perception, sanya. Both are present in every jhana. You can see among 34. There is also vedana, there is also vedana feeling, there is also sanya, perception. So they are always in every jhana. So, Here mental formation means feeling, vedana, and perception, sanya. Vedana, chat, sanya, chat, citta, sankhara. In this way, Buddha teaches in one sutta. So because of this reason, here in this case, we must emphasize vedana and sanya. Both are present in every jhana. If the meditator enters into the first, second, third, and fourth Anapanā jhana, he experiences feeling vedana. Because when he sees the Anapana counterpart, he feels a lot of pleasure while entering into the first, second, and third jhana. And the feeling of equanimity while entering into the fourth jhana. Therefore, when meditator enters into the Anapana jhanas one by one, it is said that he experiences mental formations while breathing in or while breathing out. While practicing vipassana, the meditator contemplates each of those jhana dhammas, emphasizing feeling, seeing the dissolution of those jhana dhammas as impermanence, suffering, or non-self. Then the mental formations, the jhana dhammas, including vedana, will become clear to the mind because they are the object of vipassana insight. When practicing vipassana, the vipassana insight is associated with pleasure while contemplating the first, second, and third jhana dhammas, and with the feeling of equanimity while contemplating the fourth jhana dhammas. Perception in this case follows feeling. Perception is the follower of feeling. For that reason, it is said that when practicing samatha or vipassana, the meditator trains that I shall breathe in experiencing mental formation. He trains that I shall breathe out experiencing mental formation. Citta sankhara patisavedi asa siddhamiti sekati. Citta sankhara patisavedi asa siddhamiti sekati. Then number 4 is he trains that I shall breathe in tranquilizing the mental formation. He trains that I shall breathe out tranquilizing the mental formation. Citta sankhara patisavedi. No. Pasambhaya citta sankhara. Pasambhaya citta sankhara asa siddhamiti sekati. Pasambhaya citta sankhara asa siddhamiti sekati. Here also mental formation means feeling, vedana, and perception sanya. Both are present in every jhana. If the meditator enters into the first, second, or third jhana, Anapana jhana, he experiences the feeling of pleasure, sukha. When entering into the fourth Anapana jhana, he experiences the feeling of equanimity, upekkha vedana. In each successive jhana, feeling, vedana becomes more and more subtle and refined. Gross feelings fade away in each higher jhana. Perception in this case also follows feeling. Therefore, when the meditator enters into the Anapana jhanas one by one, it is said that he is tranquilizing mental formation while breathing in or while breathing out. Again, when the meditator contemplates each of those jhana dhammas, emphasizing feeling, vedana, seeing the dissolution of those jhana dhammas as impermanence, suffering, or non-self, his mental formations, that means insight knowledge, will become subtle and refined with each higher and higher insight knowledge. Other than concentration is very deep. In higher and higher vipassana insight, concentration also becomes deeper and deeper. Because of this deep concentration, insight knowledge is also very, very subtle, very refined. In the same way, when practicing vipassana also, when practicing samatha also, feeling becomes refined. Feeling becomes subtle and subtle, subtler and subtler in each higher and higher jhana. What is the reason? Because of concentration. concentration becomes deeper and deeper in each higher and higher channel. Because of this reason, all mental formations, not only Vedana feeling, all mental formations begin very, very fine and very refined, very subtle. At that time, when contemplating Vipassana also same. Because of this reason, some meditators, if they cannot maintain their deep concentration, usually they fall asleep, fall into bhavanga. This is we call fall asleep temporarily. Then they come out from bhavanga and then they contemplate again. Why? Concentration is not yet so enough to maintain their Vipassana insight, successfully to practice for a long time. In the same way, while practicing jhana also they frequently fall into bhavanga, fall asleep. This is a great problem nowadays. Many people think this is Nibbāna. This is problem. No Nibbāna. Nibbāna is when they practice Vipassana systematically, and then only they can realize Nibbāna. So just practicing samatha, they cannot attain Nibbāna. Without understanding ultimate materiality, without understanding ultimate mentality, if they say they realize Nibbāna, such type of realization is not true. Because if a meditator understands Four Noble Truths systematically, and that only they can realize Nibbāna. Without understanding the noble truth of suffering, that is by clinging linkage. Without understanding the noble truth of the origin of suffering, this is dependent origination. They cannot realize Nibbāna. So, when the meditator contemplates each of those jhana-dhammas, emphasizing feeling, vedana, seeing the dissolution of those jhana-dhammas as impermanence, suffering or non-self, these mental formations, that insight knowledge will become subtle and refined. With each higher and higher insight knowledge. For that reason, it is said that when practicing samatha or vipassana, the meditator trains that I shall breathe in tranquilizing mental formation. He trains that I shall breathe out tranquilizing mental formation. Pasambayan Chita Sankara, Asasita Midi Sikati. Pasambayan Chita Sankara, Pasasita Midi Sikati. This tetra is one type of contemplation of feeling, vedana nupassana. So, number one tetra is kaya nupassana. Long breath, short breath, whole body of breath, and tranquilizing the bodily formation. This is kaya nupassana, bodily contemplation. Now this tetra is vedana nupassana, feeling contemplation, contemplation of feeling. Now mind contemplation. Chitta nupassana, that's the tetra. Chitta Badi Samvedi Asasi Samvedi Sekati. Chitta Badi Samvedi Asasi Samvedi Sekati. I shall breathe in, experiencing the mind. He trains that. I shall breathe out, experiencing the mind. A bhikkhu trains that. I shall breathe in, experiencing the mind. He trains that. I shall breathe out, experiencing the mind. Chitta Badi Samvedi. Number two, he trains thus and shall breathe in, gladdening the mind. He trains thus and shall breathe out, gladdening the mind. Kabhi Pamodaya Chitta. Number three, Samadhahan Chitta. Samadhahan Chitta, Asasi Samiti Sekati. Samadhahan Chitta, Pasasi Samiti Sekati. He trains thus and shall breathe in, concentrating the mind. He trains thus and shall breathe out, concentrating the mind. Number four, Vimodhyan Chitta Asasi Samiti Sekati. Vimodhyan Chitta Pasasi Samiti Sekati. He trains thus and shall breathe in, liberating the mind. He trains thus and shall breathe of liberating the mind. The meaning of the above four sentences: I shall breathe in experiencing the mind. He trains thus I shall breathe in experiencing the mind. He trains thus I shall breathe out experiencing the mind. Here the mind means four types of Anapanā jhana consciousness. You can see in five jhana there are 34 mental formations. Among 34, one is consciousness. Again and second jhana, Vitaka, Vichara. Application and sustainment absent. So there are 32. Among 32, consciousness is also one pattern. In that jhana, no Vitaka, no Vichara, as well as no piti rapture. So 3 absent. So there are 31. In fourth jhana, in the same way, there are 31, but Sukha absent, but Upeka, the feeling of equanimity present. So there are 31. Among 31, consciousness is one type. So in every jhana there is consciousness. So when re-establishing jhana dhammas, at that time the meditator feels not only 5 jhana patterns or 3 jhana patterns or 2 jhana patterns. He also can see this jhana consciousness because they are 34. So if he has enough concentration, and then if he pay attention to this 34, he can see this 34 or 32 or 31. He can see clearly. Among 31 in this chapter, Buddha teaches to emphasize consciousness. Okay? So, here the mind means 4 types of Anapanā jhana consciousness. When a meditator enters into each jhana, he experiences jhana consciousness clearly. It is then said that he experiences the mind when breathing in or breathing out. When the meditator practices Vipassana, he contemplates jhana dhammas as impermanence, suffering or non-self, seeing their dissolution and emphasizing the mind. At the actual time of insight, he experiences the mind very clearly as impermanence, suffering or non-self. For that reason, it is said that when practicing samatha or vipassana, the meditator trains thus: I shall breathe in experiencing the mind. He trains thus: I shall breathe out experiencing the mind. But when contemplating the consciousness as jhana consciousness as anicca, dukkha and anatta, he must emphasize consciousness, jhana consciousness. But jhana consciousness never arises alone. It always arises with associated mental formations. So, emphasizing jhana consciousness, the meditator must contemplate all jhana dhammas. Emphasizing jhana consciousness, he must contemplate all jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha and anatta. Then number second sentence. He Abhibhamodhayan Chaita Asa Seksamiti Sekati Abhibhamodhayan Chaita Asa Seksamiti Sekati. He trains thus and shall breathe in gradually the mind. He trains thus and shall breathe out gradually the mind. Here and there is gradually the mind in 2 ways, through concentration and through insight. How does a meditator attain gradually the mind through concentration? He attains the first and second jhanas sequentially, one by one, in which pleasure, sukha is present. At the time when he actually has entered those jhanas, he inspires the mind with jhana mind. The mind means jhana mind, with gladness instills gladness into it by means of the pleasure sukha associated with jhana. That jhana sukha is, for many meditators, they can feel very well. This jhana consciousness can produce jhana mind-born klapas, subatomic particles. They are spreading throughout the body. If a meditator analyzes those klapas, in each klapa there are 8 types of materiality, such as earth element, water element, fire element, wind element, color, odor, flavor, and nutritive acid. Among these 8, there are 3 tangible objects. What are 3? Earth element, fire element, and wind element. Hardness, roughness, heaviness, softness, smoothness, lightness. Heat and cold, subordinate and pushing. They are all tangible objects. These tangible objects impinge on the body dough. Body dough means body translucent element. Body translucent element means if you touch, you can feel touching sensation. If you touch throughout the body, you can feel touching sensation. So the body translucent element is throughout the body. When the jhana mind produces mind-born kalabas, among those mind-born kalabas, there are 3 types of tangible objects. They impinge on that body dough, especially at the time. Softness, smoothness, lightness is very clear, very predominant pattern. When they impinge on the body dough very gently, the meditator feel a lot happiness, a lot rapture throughout the body as while entering into jhana. But other than they focus only on Nibbāna counterpart side. They do not pay attention to this bodily pleasure or rapture. But when they emerge from jhana, at the time, if they want to contemplate jhana dhammas as nature, dukkha, and anatta, other than they pay attention to this jhana dhammas, other than they feel this jhana, this feeling, especially pleasure, spread throughout the body. They can easily see. But this is not the object because this is the bodily feeling. But my meaning is at the time, not only mental feeling, but also bodily feeling also at the time, right, when they emerge from jhana. Jhana happiness is very good, they understand at that time. Because of this reason, Buddha here teaches. How does a meditator attain gladdening the mind through concentration? He attains the first and second jhanas sequentially one by one, in which pleasure sukha is present. At the time when he actually has entered those jhanas, he inspires the mind, jhana mind, with gladness and instills gladness into it by means of the pleasure sukha associated with the jhana. How does the meditator attain gladdening the mind? Through insights. After entering and emerging from one of the 2 jhanas, accompanied by pleasure, jhana is first jhana, second jhana, the meditator comprehends the jhana, pleasure, sukha with insight, simultaneously seeing the dissolution of that pleasure, sukha, together with the associated jhana dhammas. And thus, at the actual time of insight, he inspires the mind, inside mind, with gladness and instills gladness into it by means of the pleasure sukha associated with insight. While practicing vipassana, he focuses only jhana dhammas. Among jhana dhammas, there is also pleasure, predominant pattern. When he is contemplating this pleasure together with associated mental formations, jhana dhammas, and then vipassana insight also associated with pleasure. This pleasure is very predominant pattern when practicing vipassana. This happiness, this is called vipassana happiness. When entering into jhana, this is happiness is jhana happiness. When practicing this jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha, anatta, inside knowledge also associated with happiness. That happiness or that pleasure is vipassana happiness, vipassana pleasure. So when entering into jhana also there is, he feels pleasure. When practicing vipassana also he feels pleasure. That type of pleasure is called jhana happiness and vipassana happiness. Jhana happiness is better than sensual happiness. Vipassana happiness is better than jhana happiness. Do you want to feel? Why you are laughing? Oh, very good. This is Buddha's teaching. Okay. Here the object of insight means jhana, pleasure, sukha. Therefore the subject, that means the insight which contemplates and sees this jhana, pleasure, sukha is also associated with pleasure, sukha. In this case, the subject means the insight knowledge. For that reason, it is said that when practicing samatha or vipassana, the meditator trains that I shall breathe in, gladdening the mind. He trains thus, I shall breathe out, gladdening the mind. So, if you can train to become gladdening mind, is it good or bad? Very good. Every time you get happy, you can enjoy happiness, you can enjoy pleasure while practicing samatha or while practicing vipassana. Very good. Then number 3. Samadhahan citta. Samadhahan citta asa siddhamiti sikati. Samadhahan citta pasa siddhamiti sikati. He trains thus, I shall breathe in concentrating the mind. He trains thus, I shall breathe out, concentrating the mind. Here also the meditator trains concentrating the mind in 2 ways, through concentration, samatha, and through insight, vipassana. When practicing samatha, the meditator evenly places the mind, putting it evenly on its meditation object, the anapanna counterpart sign. By means of the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana. Ordinarily, when having entered those jhanas one by one and emerged from them, he couldn't comprehend with insight the jhana consciousness associated with jhana dhamma. Simultaneously seeing the dissolution of that jhana consciousness together with associated jhana dhammas. He couldn't comprehend as anicca, dukkha, anatta, those jhana consciousness together with associated jhana dhamma. Then at the actual time of insight, momentary unification of the mind, that is momentary concentration, khanika samadhi, arises through the penetration of the characteristics of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. At that point, the meditator's insight mind is thoroughly concentrated on the characteristic of impermanence, or suffering, or non-self. Here, you may understand khanika samadhi, momentary concentration. Vipassana is necessary khanika samadhi. What is khanika samadhi? You can now understand. Meditator into jhana. When he emerges from jhana, he comprehends or he contemplates the jhana dhammas as impermanent, suffering, and non-self. While contemplating these jhana dhammas, his vipassana insight also associated with very deep concentration. That deep concentration is on the nature of anicca characteristic or dukkha characteristic or anatta characteristic. So, such type of concentration is called, what called? Khanika samadhi, momentary samadhi. Nowadays, many meditators, they go to meditation center. They practice Vipassana. How they practice? With Khanika Samadhi, they told. Is it possible? They do not understand ultimate materiality. They do not understand ultimate mentality. They never practice to understand dependent origination by direct knowledge. Then they practice Vipassana. Is there any Khanika Samadhi? No. Here, they practice jhana up to fourth jhana. This is concentration, jhana concentration. Then again, these jhana dhammas, meditators contemplate these jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. While contemplating in this way, their insight knowledge also associates with deep concentration, higher concentration. That concentration is called Khanika Samadhi. So, is it saying Khanika Samadhi? For some meditators experience, they never understand, they never practice jhana. They never practice to understand ultimate materiality according to Buddha's teaching. They never practice to understand ultimate mentality according to Buddha's teaching. Why? They criticize a lot. Buddha teaches this nama rupa intavarisa deva world only, not a human world. This is their reason. Because of this reason, they don't want to practice to understand this mentality and materiality by their own direct knowledge. Another reason is Vipassana is main important practice in Buddha's dispensation. Samatha is outside Buddha's dispensation. You should not practice samatha, you must practice only Vipassana. This is their instruction. Because of this reason, they have no jhana concentration. They do not understand jhana dhammas. They cannot contemplate these jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So here Khanika Samadhi means when contemplating these jhana dhammas as anicca, dukkha, anatta, at the inside knowledge will associate with very deep concentration. Such type of concentration only is called Khanika Samadhi. Do you understand what is Khanika Samadhi? But similarly, when you are contemplating other mentality and materiality as anicca, dukkha, anatta, at that time also your Vipassana insight will associate very deep with very deep concentration. That deep concentration also can call Khanika Samadhi, momentary Samadhi. But nowadays many meditators, they do not understand ultimate materiality. They do not understand ultimate mentality by their own direct knowledge. Because mentality and materiality never arise alone. Materiality always arises as a subatomic particle. If you can analyze those kalabas, at that time only you can understand ultimate materiality. Again, ultimate mentality also never arises alone. They always arise as a group. In fact, how many? Within one man movement, 34. You understand? So because of this reason, they do not see this mentality, they do not see this materiality. If they practice Vipassana, that Vipassana is not real Vipassana, only that superficial only. Real Vipassana is you must understand ultimate materiality by your own direct knowledge, not hearsay. You must understand ultimate mentality by your own direct knowledge. Then you must understand dependent origination by your own direct knowledge. After that only you can practice Vipassana, you can contemplate this ultimate materiality, ultimate mentality, and their causes as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Such type of contemplation is called Vipassana only. Without understanding ultimate materiality, without understanding ultimate mentality, and without practicing dependent origination to understand by your own direct knowledge, if you practice Vipassana, this is only just superficial, not real Vipassana. not real Khanika Samadhi, momentary Samadhi. So please take care. Then another is, for that reason it is said that when practicing Samatha or Vipassana, the meditator trains that I shall breathe and contemplate the mind. He trains that I shall breathe or contemplate the mind and concentrate the mind. Number 4. He trains that I shall breathe and liberate the mind. He trains that I shall breathe or liberate the mind. We must check. The meditator breathes in and breathes out, deliberate and liberating the mind from the hindrances by means of the first jhana. From applied and sustained thought, udeka and vichara by means of the second jhana. From rapture piti by means of the third jhana. From pleasure sukha and pain dukkha by means of the fourth jhana. This is samatha meditation. So, if you re-establish your first jhana concentration at the actual full absorption stage, you always liberated from 5 hindrances, temporarily. When practicing or when entering into jhana at the actual full absorption stage only. Again, if you enter into second jhana, at that time you will be liberated from vitaka and vichara. There is no vitaka, vichara. Again, if you enter into third jhana, then you will be liberated again from piti, rapture, because there is no rapture. If you again enter into fourth jhana, then you will be liberated from sukha as well as dukkha. But in this case, in third jhana there is no dukkha. In first jhana, second jhana, third jhana there is no dukkha. Why the commentary says dukkha? Because according to Buddha's teaching they are saying. But for practicing these 4 types of jhana, at the excess concentration stage, dukkha is disappeared. Only excess concentration stage, there is sukha feeling, happiness feeling or pleasure. But in this case, they want to praise fourth jhana. Fourth jhana is very good. It is free from sukha and dukkha. And then they want to practice. Oh, I will practice. Is it true? They will practice. Because when entering into fourth jhana, they always liberated. Their mind always liberated from sukha and dukkha. Because of this reason, here it explains. Then at the actual time of insight, we practicing vipassana, the meditator having entered and emerged from each of those jhanas comprehends with insight the consciousness associated with each of those jhanas, simultaneously seeing their dissolution of it. How they comprehend as nature, dukkha and anatta. Then at the actual time of insight, he delivers and liberates the mind from the perception of permanence by means of the contemplation of impermanence. They see this jhana mind together with associated mental formations as nature. If they clearly see the nature, at that time, this contemplation, because of this, by means of this contemplation of impermanence, their mind liberates from the perception of permanence. At that time, they will not perceive this is permanent. They free from perception of permanence. In the same way, from the perception of pleasure by means of the contemplation of suffering, from the perception of self by means of the contemplation of non-self, from the delight by means of the contemplation of disenchantment, from greed by means of the contemplation of fading away, from rousing or craving by means of the contemplation of cessation, firm grasping by means of the contemplation of relinquishment. In this case, disenchantment, fading away, cessation, relinquishment. This is the result of the nature contemplation, dukkha contemplation, and anatta contemplation only. They must contemplate as nature, dukkha, anatta, those jhana tamas, or those jhana minds. As they die, because of this reason, this enchantment will also appear, fading away, cessation, and relinquishment will appear successfully. This is insight meditation. For that reason, it is said that when practicing samatha or vipassana, the meditator trains thus: I shall breathe in, liberating the mind. He trains thus: I shall breathe out, liberating the mind. Vimocyan citta. This doctrine is one type of contemplation of consciousness, citta, vipassana. The Buddha teaches both samatha and vipassana in the second and third phase together. So here Buddha teaches samatha as well as vipassana. Then another one, Dhamma contemplation, fourth tetrad. In this fourth tetrad, the Buddha teaches only pure insight, pure vipassana, not samatha. A bhikkhu trains thus: anicca nubhasi asasi samiti sikkati, anicca nubhasi pasasi samiti sikkati. A bhikkhu trains thus: I shall breathe in, contemplating impermanence. He trains thus: I shall breathe out, contemplating impermanence. Number 2. Viraga nubhasi asasi samiti sikkati, viraga nubhasi pasasi samiti sikkati. He trains thus: I shall breathe in, contemplating fading away. He trains thus: I shall breathe out, contemplating fading away. Number 3. Nirodhanubhasi asasi samiti sikkati, nirodhanubhasi pasasi samiti sikkati. He trains thus: I shall breathe in, contemplating cessation. He trains thus: I shall breathe out, contemplating cessation, nirodhanubhasi. Then Patinnesaganubhasi asati samiti sikkati, Patinnesaganubhasi pasati samiti sikkati. He trains thus: I shall breathe in, contemplating relinquishment. He trains thus: I shall breathe out, contemplating relinquishment. So the meaning of the above 4 sentences. Number 1, I shall breathe in, contemplating impermanence. He trains thus: I shall breathe out, contemplating impermanence. What is impermanence? Nature. Impermanence nature is the 5 aggregates. Aniccanti Pincha Khanda. This is the explanation of Visuddhimagga. You can see Visuddhimagga, there are 2 volumes. Number 1, first volume, page number 281. As long as these 5 aggregates arise, they pass away. Hence, these 5 aggregates are called impermanence and nature. What are 5 aggregates? The aggregate of materiality, the aggregate of feeling, the aggregate of perception, the aggregate of formations, and the aggregate of consciousness. They are, in other words, mentality and materiality things. The Buddha teaches to contemplate jhana dhammas as impermanent, suffering on non-self in the second and third tetrad. Therefore, in this fourth tetrad, the 5 aggregates are sense-sphere dhammas only, kama-vachara dhammas. For the Anapanna meditator, taking each of 28 types of materiality as object, the meditator must then discern 6 types of cognitive processes, as well as the different types of materiality at the 6 doors. For example, in the I door there are 6 types of kalapa, such as Antagate kalapa, Bodhidagate kalapa, Sattagate kalapa, mind-born nutritive essence of that kalapa, temperature-born nutritive essence of that kalapa, and nutriment-born nutritive essence of that kalapa. Altogether, there are 54 types of materiality. It should be similarly understood with the other 5 doors. So, in our eye, there is eye decade kalapa. Decade means 10. If you analyze that kalapa, there are 10 types of materiality, such as earth element, water element, fire element, wind element, color, odor, flavor, nutritive acid, light faculty, and eye translucent element. Altogether 10. But not only these 10. If you touch your eye, can you feel touching sensation? Do you feel? So there is also body decade kalapa. Because body consciousness arises depending on body decade kalapa, body translucent element only. Then, if you see one person, can you distinguish this is man or this is woman? You can clearly understand when you see a person. Why? There is sex decade kalapa throughout the body. Everywhere there is sex decade kalapa according to Buddha's teaching. That sex decade kalapa distinguishes this is man, this is woman. So in your eye also there are sex decade kalapas. Again, if you move your eye, can you move? No. Why? There is mind-born decade odek kalapas. Mind-born odek kalapas. Nutritive acid odek kalapas. In the same way, in each kalapa there is fire element. That fire element is called temperature Udu. That Udu also can produce new generations in your eye. Because of this temperature cut your eye not to become spoiled. If the temperature is disappear, you will die. So your eye will be spoiled by different reasons. Then there is also, when you eat every food, that food as a nutritive as odek kalapa spread throughout your body, including your eye. So in your eye there are 6 types of kalapas. Here, eye decade kalapa, body decade kalapa, sex decade kalapa, mind-born nutritive acid odek kalapa, temperature-born nutritive acid odek kalapa, and nutriment-born nutritive acid odek kalapa. Altogether there are 54 types of materiality. Decade kalapas are 10, odek kalapas are 8. So altogether there are 54. But there is also another type of kalapa. This is called light nonic kalapa. Light nonic kalapa means in that kalapa, if you analyze that kalapa, there are 9 types of materiality. Earth element, water element, fire element, wind element, color, odor, flavor, nutritive acid, and light faculty. Among these 9 types, there is fire element. That fire element, 4 types. Among 4 types, the most important fire element is digestive fire. This is very important. Here also digestive fire. If you put and drop in your eye, then your eye absorb. Why? Because of the assistance of that digestive fire. If you apply any medicine here on your body can absorb this medicine. Why? Everywhere there is digestive fire. When that digestive fire supports this nutritive acid of that medicine is nothing, a group of subatomic particles called kalapas. If you analyze those kalapas, there are 8 types. Among 8 types, there is nutritive acid. When digestive fire supports this nutritive acid, that nutritive acid produces new kalapas. Because of this reason, this medicine spread throughout your hand or throughout your body, etc. Throughout your eye. Do you want to know? Very good, please practice systematically. You can see, by your own direct knowledge, no hearsay. Very good. Then, if the meditator wants to discern sense via materiality, he must discern the mentality of sense via mentality. He must discern the mentality of different types of cognitive processes, such as eye-do, ear-do, nose-do, tongue-do, body-do, and mind-do cognitive processes. If the meditator wants to discern the mentality of the eye-do cognitive process, he first must discern eye-do and mind-do together. Then he must discern the color of a group of flowers. When the color impinges on the both doors simultaneously, then the mentalities of the eye-do cognitive process and mind-do cognitive process will arise successfully, taking color as object. At that time, the meditator can discern the mentality which is taking the color as object. So this is the system only. So if you want to discern this eye-do cognitive process, you should learn by heart. If you do not learn by heart, you cannot understand. Number one, phyto-adipati consciousness. Number two, eye consciousness. Number three, receiving consciousness. Number four, investigating consciousness. Number five, precision consciousness. Then seven, impartial jhanas. After that, two registering mind movements. Altogether there are 14. If you see me, these eye-do cognitive arise systematically. They never change this system. This is Chitta Niyama, the fixed law. After that, there may be many pointers. Then, mind-do cognitive process. That mind-do cognitive process also takes this color, same color. But same color is similarity only, not really. Same means here similarity only, because color is also a nature impermanent. As long as they arise, they pass away. But their lifespan is 70 mind moments. When 70 mind moments pass away, then this color will disappear. But similar colors successfully will arise. Because there are many colors. One, in each mind moment there are three stages: rising stage, standing stage, and perishing stage. In rising stage also there are four types of kalabas or four types of materiality: mind-born materiality, karma-born materiality, mind-born materiality, temperature-born materiality, nutriment-born materiality. Though they always rise, but their lifespan is 70 mind moments. In the same way, standing place also there are mind, karma-born materiality, temperature-born materiality, nutriment-born materiality. But standing place, no mind-born materiality, because mind-born materiality has only rising stage. Rising stage, mind is very strong. But standing stage in perishing stage, mind is very weak. That mind cannot produce new karma. So because of this reason, in every mind moment, in the same way, perishing stage also karma-born materiality, temperature-born materiality, nutriment-born materiality. Their lifespan is 70 mind moment. But this is number one mind moment. Number two mind moment, sight. These four types of materiality arise. Then number three mind moment also sight. These four types of materiality arise. In every mind moment they arise in this way. So number one mind moment, materialities which arise together with number one mind moment, they will cease number 70 mind moment together. Then number two mind moment, they will cease number 18. Then number three mind moment, they will cease together with number 90 mind moment. So in this way, if we see from 70 mind moment, there are many different types of materialities, they are rising. There are many different types of materialities, they are perishing. There are many different types of materialities, they are settling. So because of this reason, same color, although there are many bhujas between two cognitive processes, That same kala, the mind of cognitive will realize that kala. For example, if you want to do this cognitive process, number one, you should try to design a translucent element. Then you should try to design Poika Mando. You should pay attention a group of small body gas color. Why? One color color is not the object of unconsciousness. It is the object of mind consciousness only. Mind consciousness rests dependent on your heart rate. So consciousness cannot take this one color. Because of this reason, if you want to understand about cognitive process, you should try to take a group of small body gas color. When color impinge both toes, that color impinges both toes simultaneously. At that time, cognitive rise according to sequentially. Then, according to sequence, when they arise, hydro-advancing consciousness rises dependent on your heart rate. Eye consciousness rises dependent on your eye translucent element here. Then receiving consciousness will rise here. Investigating, decision, 7 types of impulsion, to registering mind, and other mind movements, they will rise here. In the same way, mind-cognitive process. Mind-advancing consciousness in 7 jhanas, 7 impulsions, and to registering mind, they also will rise here only. So here only one mind movement. Here, a lot of mind movement. If you want to understand unconsciousness with associated mental formations, there are 8. Consciousness, contact, feeling, perception, volition, life faculty, one-pointedness, life faculty, and attention altogether, there are 8 types. If you want to discern these 8 types, you must wait and see here only. If you see here, you cannot see. Because only just one mind movement. So, system is very important. But if you want to discern mentality, you do not understand what is transparency, translucent, what is Poika Mando. Without understanding these 2 different doors, if you discern mentality, you cannot understand this cognitive process. Is it true? You may have been practiced different types of vipassana. Do you understand this cognitive process with associated mental formations in each mind movement? Do you understand? No. This is because they do not practice systematically according to Buddha's teaching. So if you want to understand this ultimate mentality, you should practice systematically according to Buddha's teaching. Okay? It should be similarly understood with the other 5 doors. In each mind movement, these mentalities contain only 4 mental aggregates: feeling, perception, formations, and consciousness. Therefore, in each mind movement, there are 5 aggregates together with materiality of base and object. Base here, base is in this case here, how many? 54 things. 6 types of kalabas here, 6 types of kalabas, they are materiality. The kala also materiality. So, together with this materiality, they are all together in each mind movement 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates means, for example, here eye consciousness. This is the aggregate of consciousness. About 7 universal mental factors which associate with eye consciousness. There is feeling, feeling is feeling aggregate. There is perception, perception is perception aggregate. The remaining mental formation is 5. Volition, one-pointedness, life faculty, attention, manasikara. the contact. Altogether 5. These 5 are the formations aggregate, the aggregate of formation. So altogether there are 5 aggregates in each mind moment. Every mind moment there are 5 aggregates, 5 aggregates, 5 aggregates. If you want to practice vipassana, you must try to understand these 5 aggregates in every mind moment. Is it okay? Please practice, don't worry. You should have enough concentration. Very good. Develop concentration. A bhikkhu who has concentrated mind understands the Dhammas as they really are. So if you have enough concentration, you can understand these Dhammas as they really are. So don't be worried. Please practice systematically. It is possible. Okay. Then, therefore, in each mind moment, there are 5 aggregates together with the materiality of base object. Here, base means the materiality of 6 doors. For example, in the Indo, there are 6 types of kalapa, which are made up of 54 types of, as mentioned above, 54 types of materiality. And the object is kala. The mentality in every mind moment arises solely dependent on its own base. Without base, it can never arise in the sense sphere world. While practicing vipassana, the meditator must contemplate the mentality of sense sphere, which takes 6 types of material objects as impermanence, suffering, or non-self. This is the suggestion of commentaries Visuddhimagga, Volume 2, page number 300 and 301. Attha Salini commentary, page number 271. There are also some meditators who practice other samatha meditation subjects such as the Dengasinas, 8 attainments, 4 sublime vitals, and so on. They too must contemplate those jhana dhammas in the same way as described in the above second and third traits. So the meditator must contemplate the different types of 5 aggregates, seeing their dissolution as impermanence, suffering, or non-self, while breathing in and while breathing out. For that reason, it is said that when practicing samatha or vipassana, the meditator trains that I shall breathe in, contemplating impermanence. He trains that I shall breathe out, contemplating impermanence. Anicca Nubasi. Then another is Viraga Nubasi, Asa Sesamiti Sekati, Viraga Nubasi, Pasa Sesamiti Sekati. He trains that I shall breathe in, contemplating fading away. He trains that I shall breathe out, contemplating fading away. There are 2 kinds of fading away. Number 1, fading away as discretion, Kriya Viraga, and fading away, absolute fading away, Echanda Viraga. Here in fading away as discretion is the momentary dissolution of formations. That is the 5 aggregates. Absolute fading away is Nibbāna. While practicing vipassana, the meditator must try to see the dissolution of the formations that the 5 aggregates. He must contemplate them as impermanence, suffering, or non-self at the actual moment of insight. The insight knowledge will destroy the defilements temporarily, moment by moment. When the vipassana insight becomes fully matured, at the end of insight, but knowledge will arise, taking Nibbāna as the object. In Nibbāna, there is no mentality and no materiality, and therefore craving, which is one type of mental pattern, fades away absolutely in the Nibbāna. Viraga. For that reason, it is said that while practicing vipassana or while realizing Nibbāna, the meditator trains that I shall breathe in, contemplating the fading away of craving, Viraga Nubasi. He trains that I shall breathe out, contemplating the fading away of craving, Viraga Nubasi. You must contemplate them as anicca, dukkha, and anatta only, these 5 aggregates or their causes, together with their causes. This is your responsibility. But that contemplation or insight knowledge will eradicate temporarily the craving. Because of this, at that time you are inclining also towards Nibbāna. Why you practice Vipassana? You want to realize Nibbāna or you want to attain Nibbāna. This is called your attention, your intention. That intention is called inclination to Nibbāna. Then number 3, Nirodhanupasi. He trains thus and shall breathe in contemplating cessation. He trains thus and shall breathe of contemplating cessation. The same method of explanation that applies to fading away also applies to the above 3 sentences. The contemplating cessation. That sentence. The momentary dissolution of formations is the momentary cessation, khana nirodha. The absolute cessation is Nibbāna, Ichanta nirodha. Number 4, he trains thus and shall breathe in contemplating relinquishment. He trains thus and shall breathe of contemplating relinquishment. Paticca nupasi. There are 2 kinds of relinquishment. Relinquishment as giving up. Parichaka, paticca. Relinquishment as entering into Hosaka, paticca. The meditator seeing the dissolution of formations must contemplate them as impermanent, separate or non-self. One contemplating in this way, the insight knowledge temporarily relinquishes the defilements together with their aggregate producing karma formations. And through seeing the suffering of those formations, it, Vipassana insight knowledge, enters into Nibbāna by inclining towards it. Therefore, Vipassana insight is called both relinquishment as giving up, parichaka paticca, and relinquishment as entering into Hosaka paticca. The meaning is maybe deep, but I want to explain again. One contemplating this formation, what are formations? 5 aggregates. What are 5 aggregates? 11 types of 5 aggregates, not only present, past 5 aggregates, present 5 aggregates, future 5 aggregates, internal 5 aggregates, external 5 aggregates, gross 5 aggregates, subtle 5 aggregates, inferior 5 aggregates, superior 5 aggregates, far 5 aggregates, near 5 aggregates, altogether 11. These 11 types of 5 aggregates you must contemplate as contemplate them as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Systematically, sometimes anicca, sometimes dukkha, sometimes anatta. Not 3 together. But for easy understanding, only we must try in this way. While contemplating in this way, Vipassana insight will relinquish defilements temporarily. For example, if you contemplate as anicca, that anicca insight will eradicate, will destroy the defilement of conceit, mana, conceit. You have a lot of pride to yourself. When you are contemplating these 5 aggregates, you can see only mentality and materiality. As soon as they rest, they pass away very, very quickly. At that time, you cannot see I. At that time, conceit will disappear. Not only conceit, but also the karma. That conceit, mana, can produce karma. When wholesome dhamma or unwholesome dhammas arise, they never become what called They always can produce their own result. Usually they have the power to produce their own result. But one practicing Vipassana, that Vipassana inside, you may see that conceit, but that conceit cannot produce new existence. No power because of the inside knowledge. Inside knowledge eradicates this conceit. Because of the reason that conceit has no power to produce future existence. So this is here aggregate producing karma formation. This is conceit also aggregate producing karma formation. It has the power to produce new existence. But when you contemplate this mana conceit as anicca dukkha anatta, that mana cannot produce new existence. This is the meaning. In the same way, if you can contemplate those five aggregates as suffering dukkha, then that contemplation will relinquish nibbāna attachment. If you see these five aggregates, they are always oppressed to you by rising in passing way. At that time, if you see this oppressing nature, then you have no much attachment to these five aggregates, temporary. At that time, that attachment also has the power to produce new existence. But because of what Vipassana inside is contemplating these formations or these five aggregates as suffering, because of this insight, that attachment has no power to produce new aggregates, new conditions. So it also relinquishes. In the same way, if you contemplate these five aggregates as anatta, non-self, at that time, such type of contemplation also relinquishes the perception of atta, wrong view. At that time, you will not see atta. Because of this reason, you contemplate these formations as anatta. That anatta inside knowledge can relinquish that wrong view deity. But if you contemplate this deity as nature, dukkha, and anatta, that deity also can produce new future existence. But because of the power of this insight, that wrong view cannot produce new future existence. Temporarily, while practicing Vipassana, this conceit, this craving, this wrong view may arise occasionally. But you contemplate them as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Because of this reason, they have no power to produce new future existence. Why you must contemplate these unwholesome dhammas as anicca, dukkha, anatta? Many people, they have strong attachment there also. These unwholesome dhammas. For example, I am very greedy. They grasp this greedy, they have attachment to this greedy. Oh, I love my son so much. I love my daughter so much. Oh. They have attachment against this attachment. First attachment, they have new attachment. They have attachment to that attachment again. Because of this, they cannot go out from their home. I go to 6 month retreat to Paul. Not easy. Because of this attachment. So, but you must contemplate it as anicca, dukkha, anatta. If you can contemplate this attachment, then that attachment has no power to produce new future existence. Is it good? Very good. See? Number 2, deeper knowledge is also called both relinquishment as giving up, paricchaka, patinissaka, and relinquishment as entering into vosaka, patinissaka. When deeper knowledge realizes Nibbāna, it gives up or destroys the defilements with their aggregate producing karma formations. by cutting them off, and it enters into Nibbāna by making it its object. What is the meaning? At the end of your matured vipassana insight, but knowledge, intrusion knowledge will arise. But knowledge realize Nibbāna. Taking Nibbāna as object, but knowledge arises. Because of this reason, at that time, with the assistance of the power of Nibbāna, but knowledge destroying the defilement stage by stage. The but knowledge will eradicate the defilements stage by stage. When you become Arhat, all defilements will disappear. All defilements will cease completely without remainder. They will never arise again. At that time, your karma has no power. That karma means before Arhat stage, you had already accumulated many wholesome and unwholesome karmas. They have the power to produce new future existence. But when you become Arhat, they have no power to produce new future existence. Because of this reason, ignorance, craving, clinging, volitional formations and karma cease completely without remainder. When you realize Nibbāna with Arhampa, Arhat knowledge. Because of the power of Arhampa, all wholesome and unwholesome karmas have no power to produce new existence. In the same way, when you become Sotapanna, supreme winner, your birth knowledge also will destroy Sakaya Deity, person identity view or personality view. And Vicikiccha, skepticism, doubt, completely without remainder. Because of this reason, before Sotapanna stage, before you are becoming Sotapanna, you had accumulated many wholesome and unwholesome karmas. These unwholesome karmas have no power to produce new existence in one of four woeful states. You already escaped from woeful states. You may reborn in human world or Deva world or Brahma world. But I want to encourage you, if you become Sotapanna, please maintain your jhana concentration. If you can maintain this jhana concentration up to that moment, it is sure, definitely I think it. You can reborn in Brahma world. If you reborn in Brahma world, you will never come back to human world or Deva world. Within 7 lives, you can become Arhat. Within 7 lives means in that very life or in next future life, you can become Arhat. So, this is very sure. Again, if you become Sakadagami, you can come back to be reborn in this human world once only. But if you become Nagami, all wholesome karmas and unwholesome karmas which will produce to be reborn in sensual world have no power to produce its result. Only jhana dhammas can produce to be reborn in Brahma world. But if you become Arhat, all wholesome and unwholesome karmas have no power to produce its result. So because of this reason, if you become noble ones, then at that time you are also still breathing. When you become Sotapanna, you also still breathing. When you become Sakadagami, Nagami or Arhat, still you are breathing. But that at that time, both insight and path knowledge are called contemplation and vipassana. Because the meditator successfully reviews again and again each preceding kind of knowledge. Therefore, if the meditator practices this twofold contemplation, that it can be understood that he is breathing in and breathing out while contemplating relinquishment. For that reason, it is said that while practicing vipassana, while realizing Nibbāna, the meditator trains that and shall breathe in contemplating relinquishment. He trains thus and shall breathe out contemplating relinquishment. So So when practicing also Vipassana, you are breathing still. While realizing Nibbāna also, you are still breathing. But that breathing is very meaningful breathing. So according to Buddha's teaching, if you can breathe systematically, you can become Sotapanna, you can become Sakadagami, you can become Anagami, you can become Rahat. Is it good? Very good. Please practice according to Buddha's teaching to breathe. This is how mindfulness of breathing is developed and cultivated so that it is of great fruit and great benefit. This is Anapanasati Sutta. Sayadaw Nikaya, second volume, page number 279, Anapanasati Sutta. In Majjhima Nikaya, 118. This is Sutta number. So we have already explained about 16 types of knowledge and 3 types of full understanding. So today let us stop here. If you have any question, you can ask me.
I was curious about the past life, how contemplation of past life on the teachers of Nibbāna, the contemplation. We know that some people are born with knowledge of past life. And from what I know, the knowledge of past life is a Nibbāna. But this knowledge of past life that Sayadaw mentioned here, is it an Nibbāna?
This is Vipassana. If you study Krishniya Sutta of Sayadaw Nikaya, in Khandavaka Sayadaw, there's one sutta called Krishniya. It translates Divine Sutta. In that sutta, Buddha explained Vipassana insight can contemplate past 5 aggregates, present 5 aggregates, future 5 aggregates. Again, if you study Susima Sutta, Nidana Vaka Sayadaw, there is one sutta called Susima Sutta. In that Susima Sutta, Venerable Susima, without practicing jhana, without practicing sex power, vijnana, he practiced pure Vipassana. When he became Arhat, Buddha asked him, do you understand? Because of the ignorance, formations arise. Yes, Bhante, I understand. In this way, Buddha asked many questions about the origination, forward order. In the same way, Buddha also asked cessation order or negative order. Because of the complete cessation of ignorance, formations cease completely without matter. Do you see this? Yes, Bhante. In this way, Buddha explains. So without jhana, without sex power of vijnana, one can see dependent origination, both regular order and cessation order or negative order. Don't be worried. Oh, possible. Vipassana has power. Vipassana in fact has the power, very strong, powerful concentration. That concentration produces strong, powerful light. With the assistance of the light of wisdom, if you pay attention, focus, that light of wisdom will go up to past life. In the dark, if you use torch, if your battery is very powerful, you can see everything inside the room. Is it true? In the same way, this wisdom faculty produces the strong, powerful light, better than torchlight. So, at that time you can see, if you pay attention, then you can see all. Please go to 6-month retreat, don't worry.
On the part that which you explain about the insight knowledge, how temporarily relinquish the defilement. You mentioned about that how the strong power of insight knowledge can make our wrong view attachment and Nibbāna defilement that cannot produce a karma. I do not understand that part, that how during the process of contemplating of the anatta, dukkha, and anatta, how come the deformance will arise?
Maybe if you pay attention, if you do not practice vipassana, you may have a lot of conceit, mana. But when practicing vipassana, you see only materiality and mentality. They are not permanent. They are always impermanent. Both eternal and external, past or present or future, eternal or external, all are impermanent. If you see impermanent, at that time you will not see I. In this way, I am, this is mana, this is conceit. That conceit we cannot arise because of this reason. But when it, sometimes you may contemplate this mana also as anicca, dukkha, anatta. At that time this conceit may arise. But you are contemplating this mana, conceit as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Because of the power of that contemplation, that mana although may arise temporarily, but can have no power to produce new future existence. In the same way, if you contemplate other mental formations such as mentality and materiality, all, in the same way, if you practice, if you contemplate it as nature, impermanent, and then you see impermanent nature, such type of contemplation also can relinquish the defilements temporarily. When they relinquish the defilements, not only defilements but also these defilements have the power to produce new future existence. That power also can testify.
Sayadaw, for vipassana, a meditator needs to penetrate suffering, impermanent, and non-self. But come to wise attention. As this afternoon you explained, needs to add one more is asoba. So what's the reason to adding this asoba for wise attention?
She is very beautiful, my wife is very beautiful, my husband is very beautiful. To remove such type of perception, Buddha also teach, they are not beautiful. Why? When you see this materiality and mentality, that materiality, please pay attention inside, especially. They have very sweet smell or bad smell. How do you think? Sweet smell or bad smell? Yes, they are repulsive. This repulsive nature is called asubha. They are very ugly. This is one. Another is jara. They have the nature of decay. Do you understand? They have the nature of perishing. Is it good or not? They are repulsive. If they are permanent, it is okay, very good. But they are not permanent. They have the nature of path. They have the nature of decay. They have the nature of death. Is it subha? This is also asubha. So when contemplating these formations as anicca, dukkha, and anatta, Buddha also teaches to contemplate them as asubha. In the same way, one contemplating mentality, some mentalities, especially unwholesome mentalities, lobha, dosa, moha, greed, hatred, conceit, jealousy, envy, etc., they are reversible. Why? They can produce a happy mind. They can produce to be reborn in hopeful state. They have the power to produce to be reborn in hopeful state. So they are beautiful or not? They are not beautiful, they are repulsive. So you must contemplate them as nature, dukkha, anatta, and asubha. In the same way, some wholesome dhammas. Depending on some wholesome dhammas, you may have a lot of pride. I get over. They cannot over. I get serve my mother, my father. They never serve their mother and father. They put like jail in the hospital. So if you set depending on your wholesome karma, you have a lot of problem, you have a lot of attachment. Such type of wholesome karma is also reversible because they can produce new existence. Depending on wholesome karma, you may wish, maybe you may offer some ropes to the bhikkhu. While offering this shivra, you may wish for realization of Nibbāna. But before realization of Nibbāna, I may become beautiful man or beautiful woman, etc. You may wish. Such type of wholesome karma can produce new future existence. Is it good? No good, so they are reversible. Asubha.
How does a person know whether the person is actually a Vipassana vehicle or a Samatha vehicle person? And how does a teacher know whether a student is actually a Vipassana?
It is not easy. It is not easy. But they should try to understand by themselves. It is better. So I have been told or no, I may repeat again. In the name of Buddha, Venerable Buddha has one disciple. He is very handsome, young and handsome, very beautiful. Venerable Buddha thought, such type of person may have less full temperament, may have strong powerful attachment to their own body. See mirror frequently. Make it here different color. So they have strong attachment. This is his thought. Because of that, he gave repulsive meditation, asubha meditation. But the meditator, he don't want to see this repulsive thing. So within 3 months, retreat, he practiced diligently, but he cannot attain any achievement. Then Venerable Buddha carry his disciple after Hosa to the Buddha, to pay respect to the Buddha. And then Venerable Buddha informed to the Buddha the situation of his disciple. Then Buddha says, "Oh, Buddha, please leave your disciple here. Then in the evening you will see your disciple become Rahat." Why? Buddha understands his temperament. Latent characteristic, his characteristic, previous characteristic. Successfully in previous life he became goldsmith. He always see beautiful things only. He don't want to see ugly ones. This is his temperament. Buddha understands, can read this temperament. Venerable Buddha cannot read this temperament. If Venerable Buddha cannot read, we also. You also cannot read. So, but Buddha gave red color Brahma lotus flower, very big like bullock wheel, chariot wheel, very big. Then gave this flower, Buddha create with his power, and then gave this flower to that bhikkhu. Please go to the corner of Jetavana monastery. Please meditate there, red kasina. When he saw this very beautiful lotus flower, his mind became very happy. He wanted to see this one. So, very soon he attained up to 4th jhana, depending on this red color kasina sakara. At that time, Buddha set his race and then tried to go to Vipassana. Then he practiced Vipassana systematically. How? He understood Venerable Sariputta teaching how to practice Vipassana systematically within 3 months. So he already understood how to practice. Then he practiced Vipassana. At the evening, he became Arhat.
Sayadaw, may I ask, if let's say a person uses his meditative power to prevent certain things from happening, like maybe disaster coming, and he uses his power to prevent the disaster from happening. So may I ask, what is going to happen to that person? We fall sick, or maybe that disaster didn't happen, but something else happens, either to him or to maybe the world.
Maybe you should try to understand the workings of karma. For example, Venerable Devadatta in our Buddha cousin. Devadatta is the brother of Yasodhara. They are sister and brother. So they are related very close to each other. Buddha has allowed metta to Devadatta. But because of his unwholesome karma, he was sure to be swallowed inside the earth. Buddha can do nothing. When he is sick, blood is coming out from his mouth. Buddha can do nothing. Buddha has the allowed metta, allowed karuna, allowed mudita, allowed upekha. These 4 sublime bodies cannot cure his disease. He cannot also sit not to go down into the hell. So, depending on his karma, he must suffer his own suffering. In the same way, nowadays there are many patients. Depending on their karma, this bad feelings he must feel. We can do nothing, but we can help them to give suitable medicine, etc. only. But he may be cured or he may be not cured, it depends on his own karma. Sometimes we can do nothing.
Sayadaw, can I understand karma as a kind of power to produce existence again and again? And Vipassana meditation can establish a kind of ability for meditator that enables to stop this kind of flow. After that, maybe it's
Maybe Nibbāna is, there are 2 types. Metaphorically, that cessation state is also called Nibbāna. Metaphorically, actually is there Asangata Dhatu. This is Supramanda Nibbāna. That cessation state, the complete cessation of 5 gigas, the complete cessation of karma, ignorance, craving, clinging, positional formations, and karma. Such type of complete cessation without remainder is the object of Vipassana only, especially Uddiyabhya Jnana. But unformed element Asangata Dhatu, this is Supramanda Nibbāna. That Supramanda Nibbāna is the object of Patni Purusha knowledge. That is also Supramanda consciousness. So they are 2 different things. Vipassana insight can see this complete cessation of 5 aggregates as well as complete cessation of 5 causes. So this is, in other words, they are result only. Result means because of the power of Arhampa as well as the power of Nibbāna. These 2 types of complete cessation. 2 types means the complete cessation of ignorance, craving, clinging, original formations, and karma. This is one type. Then another type is complete cessation of 5 aggregates. This is also another type of complete cessation. But the complete cessation of the filaments is called Parinibbāna, Sa-upadisesa Nibbāna. In other words, they are also called kilesa pranipana. This is the object of vipassana only. Then complete cessation of five aggregates. This is final cessation pranipana. This is also called Anubhadisesa Nibbāna. They translate in different ways. Anubhadisesa Nibbāna means complete cessation of five aggregates only. And then, in other words, they are also called Khanda Pranipana. Complete cessation of five aggregates only. So this is also the object of vipassana. But that complete cessation appears when meditator realize Nibbāna by four types of part knowledge and four types of process knowledge. So that Nibbāna is another one. This is Supramandi Nibbāna.
So can I please clarify something? The other day, Sayadaw mentioned that for a person to practice jhana, when they move from first jhana to second jhana, they have to analyze the jhana factors. And they get out of jhana and they analyze the jhana factors. And Sayadaw mentioned that the concentration level at that time is excess concentration. And Sayadaw also mentioned the word similar to vipassana. But today, Sayadaw explained about the doing vipassana using this kanika samadhi. So I'm a little bit confused. Is it that for movement from first jhana to second jhana to third jhana, the concentration that is used to analyze the factors is excess concentration, but the concentration that is used to do vipassana is kanika samadhi. Is that correct?
No excess concentration, this is also momentary, same kanika. But metaphorically, they call this is also excess concentration. Metaphorically only. Metaphorically means when they practice four elements meditation, systematically, one day they may see kalapa, sub-atomic particles. If they can analyze those kalapas, they can see four elements in each kalapa. Such type of knowledge is also called excess concentration. This is metaphorically only, not real excess concentration. Why? Four elements meditation cannot produce to attain jhana. So, the concentration actually close to the jhana, that concentration is excess concentration. But there is no jhana. We cannot say excess concentration. Actually, this is kanika samadhi, momentary concentration only. However, there is real excess concentration close to jhana. That concentration in this four elements meditation concentration, they are similar to each other. Because of that similarity, they are also called excess concentration only. In the same way, while you are reviewing two disadvantages, not analyzing when practicing samatha, reviewing two disadvantages as well as one advantage. At that time, such type of knowledge is called, we call picture vakana, reviewing knowledge only, not excess concentration. But that reviewing knowledge is a little bit similar to vipassana in this way. Ijame Bunya Aswakya Mahahodu Ijame Bunya Nibbāna Sa Patsyo Hodu Ijame Bunya Sabha Sadhana Pajema Tesabe Mesama Punya Baga Labando